Right, I'll need to leave the party. I'll see you later. I'll send the link in the chat.
Goodbye.
Good afternoon, everybody. We are here on this dull sky in Suzuka today. We are in the Japanese Grand Prix for today's league race, eSport Elite eSports Sunday league race. We've got 9 drives on the grid today. Quite the small turnout for today's race, but there's a decent amount of contenders for the win today. Main 3 people I'm looking at here is Jay, Sandro, RZE3, and Michael, and maybe Damien actually, so that's 4. Damien could bring a surprise performance after a great performance last Sunday. But here we are, first man out the pit. We have Jay in the McLaren Honda, and he's hopefully looking for a bit pole position. Really, probably is going to be his aim here. But he's gone out quite early. I don't think anyone else has seemed to follow him just as yet. No one's followed him just as yet. Sorry, I'm just going to put this on so I can actually see what everyone's saying. So we're on board. Well, we've got 3 people out the pits now. We've got Scouse in the force in the G, as I previously said, in the McLaren Honda, looking favourite for this qualifying session, and Michael in the Mercedes, who's out on the soft tyre, surprisingly. We've got Big Robert coming out the pits now as well on the super soft, so everyone's opted for the super soft so far, apart from Michael. And also we've got Conflict here in the Renault on the super soft tyre. So Michael looking to start on the hard compound, maybe throw a gamble here. And it's going to be an interesting qualifying session for Michael here, but we're going to jump on board with Jay, who starts his flying, who's going to be starting his flying lap first, even may I say, sorry. But we've still got Scotty, Sandro and Damien in the pits, so maybe they're going for the one run, maybe not. But Jay coming onto his flying lap now, comes out the last corner, gets a nice run out the last corner, and we're going to see what he can do here. We're going to have a spectator menu, sorry. Gonna put all the stuff on. Yes, gonna put fitted on. Right, here we go. He's in max res. He brings it down to gear 4, comes through turns 1 and 2, and that's a nice. He took that nice and nice, neat, and tidy. Sorry about that. But we're going for the windy sections of the S's here, and just taking a wider line here. But it seems to be a fairly decent lap so far. Let's see what the first sector's going to come out with. Looking at maybe a 31 something. No, 32.4. 32.4 is what everyone else has got to beat. He's lost the back end a bit, and Jay is going to have lost quite a bit of time there, and that's going to cost him majorly for this lap. Although he will go provisional pole, as he will be the first to cross the line. But we are going to stay on board with him here just to see how the rest of his lap goes. Apart from that muck-up, which will cost him maybe 5 tenths, I believe. But it's been a solid lap apart from that, but he will be kicking himself about that one. It really has hurt his lap time here. But he's coming out on the little back straight now, coming up to a 130R, and it's quite a hard corner, to be fair, because you can lose a bit of time because you take scrub across the track if you don't take it cleanly. But Jay seems to clip the grass a bit there, but take it nice and cleanly into the chicane, a very slow and tough chicane in the heavy braking zone. Comes out of it now, gets a nice little exit. He's going to get to the line, and let's see what the first lap of the qualifying session is. A 1:29.7, which is a nice little lap right there. We're going to see who's closest to crossing the line now. I believe it's Scouse coming in on the super soft tyre. He's coming around, and I haven't really got his sector times, but it does not look like it's going to be good enough to beat Jay's time of a 29.7. But he's still going to cross the line in P2 and take a 1:32.5. And Scouse, I'm sure he knows he's better than that and could probably improve on that. But we're going to jump on board with Michael now. No, we're not. Michael's backed out of it. He hasn't finished his soft lap. But we are going to jump on board with Big Robert, who is currently on a flying lap with, I'm not sure, I think that was Conflict, not too far behind him. But he seems to have backed off here. Big Robert, or am I just being a bit of a bellend? I don't know. We'll see. Maybe he's going for it now because he's got enough fuel to go for it. I think he probably is going, maybe had 2 warm-up laps. But Conflict goes with a 1:37, almost, or just over a second slower than Jay. But Jay's he is in pole, but you have got to realise that someone like Michael is going to come out and probably beat that time. Well, at least this time anyway, because of the mistake he did make. But Jay could be going for another lap here, as he has got enough fuel to do so. But will he actually go ahead and do this lap? I'm not sure. I've got a feeling he might dive into the pits. Actually, no, he's gone to max. So this is another flying lap from Jay here, so we're going to stay on board again and see what we can come with. Actually, no, we're not. We're going to jump on board with Sandro, who's in the Haas. He's just come out the hairpin, nice and neatly. Let's see what he can do in the last sector and a half of the track. He's coming up to the double left-hander. Nice tight line, takes great speed through that, and then an awkward corner, I must say. I do struggle on that corner. You have to try your best not to run wide on the grass there. Very easy to do so, and could also have invalidated his lap there, but I doubt. But he's coming up to 1:30. Yeah, he's going to have to take this nice and smoothly. Yes, just take that nice and smoothly. The target time here is a 1:29.7, and it looks like he could maybe get this actually. With only a few seconds left, can he? He's diving into the pits. He's backed up. He's backed off. So we've got Big Robert out on a lap here. Who, and then we'll jump on board with Damien just after Big Rob's lap, who's coming through to the final chicane now as we speak. And I also believe he may be diving into the pits. Yeah, I think he was going to, but he has missed the pit lane by the looks of it. Or is he maybe going on a flying lap now? Is he flying lap now, as we know he has the fuel to do so? So let's see what he's going to do here. He's alright, Conflict. Bellend. Sorry, broke character there for a minute, sorry. Here we are, jumping on board with the Toro Rosso of Damien on the super soft tyres, and he's in lean mix, so he's done 2 warm-up laps, which is unusual. There's not many people actually tend to do that on this game, but Damien knows what's best for him, so Damien's going to go for what's best for him. Here we go, Damien comes out the final corner. He's going to put it up into max. There we go, he puts it up into max finally. And we're going to stay on board with Damien for the whole of this lap and see what he does. So he does do a 1:39.9, but that isn't really his proper lap. So we're going to see what he can do here. His first corner was pretty decent, but I think Jay has got the optimal line for that first corner so far out of anyone in the whole session. But we are on board with Damien. He does put it on the grass just a little bit there, but he's going for the S's and it doesn't seem too shady. He takes a similar line to Jay, go wide through the one of the final corners in the S's, but he gets out onto a little curvy straight here, and he does lose the back end a bit out of there, but it's still looking like a decent lap. He's 4/10 up on his lap, but I don't think he's purple, so he may just slot in just behind Jay. And what we've also haven't seen this session is Michael or Sandro actually put a lap in, or ZD3, as some people may not know his real name. But Sandro and Michael, the two of the big Donnies in this session, have yet to put a lap in, so maybe they're going for trying to nail it with one lap, which can be a gamble, as an invalidation may cock you up. But we've got yellow flags in Sector 1, but we're going to ignore that for now, as it won't affect our man here, Damien, in the Toro Rosso. And that is Big Robert retired from the session, so I don't know what really happened there. I think he's just happy with his lap and he's just retired in the Red Bull, and now we're on the sister team Toro Rosso and the driver of Damien. And there's what I mean about the 130i. He does lose the back end a bit because he didn't take it smooth enough. But he's looking to improve on the 139.9, which he most definitely will. But he's trying to chase that 129.7, and he doesn't get it. He actually does a 131.2, which is slower than Conflict, and that puts him P3, and about a second and a bit ahead of Scouse in P4 in the Force India. But I think that's it for Damien, unless he can crawl back, get to the pits fast enough. But we've got the Haas of Scotty on a flying lap now as he speaks. I know you did see Sandro coming out the pits there. We've got Luke, the Haas, I mean not the Haas, bloody hell, the Toro Rosso coming out the thing, and he goes third, which is a nice lap from Luke. I bet he'd be very pleased with that one. But we are going to jump on board with Scotty, who is now coming on the back straight, heading up towards 130R. Max revs, what can he do here? He's his sector times I don't think were too bad, as I did briefly. He is 5 tenths up on his best at the moment, but as he has not set a time, we do not know. But what I'm saying now is the track time should be improving, as it does get grippier towards the end of the session. And with grey clouds looming, maybe there could be a bit of rain towards the end of the session, but we don't know. Scotty goes 6th fastest with a 134.1. But we've got Scouse in the Force India on an outlap here in the Super Source. We've got ZE3 in the Haas on a flying lap. I mean, on an outlap even in the Super Softs. But not a lot of fuel, so he's relying on the one run here. Not a lot of fuel at all. So, just to watch, I believe. No, he's not on a flying lap. That is my bad. We've got Luke, who is trying another flying lap here, which is a risky tactic, as he might lose fuel, and also if it's not an improvement, he's just knocked his qualities for absolutely no reason here. But we'll see. He is improving by 4 attempts, so he could actually potentially go P2 here ahead of Conflict into the final chicane. Heavy braking zone. Luke seems to outbrake himself just slightly there, but it doesn't seem to affect him too much. Gets a great exit off the final corner and going across the line, and he runs out of fuel just before the line. How unlucky is that? He's off to a major improvement there, but he loses out, and that looks like P3 solid for Luke. But we have got Conflict here on a flying lap. He has got enough fuel for another lap, but he will definitely get another lap in if he needs to. But is the question, will he need to get another lap in, or is he going to be happy with the time he posts now, which looks like it could challenge Jay's time, maybe? No, just outside, but he doesn't improve. But he is going to go for another lap, but we are going to jump on board with the Haas of Sandro. And he's going for the S's as we speak. Upbreaks himself a bit there, gets on the grass, and he really would like to back off here, I believe, but he can't. He can't because he doesn't have the fuel to do so. Sorry for the voice break there. He doesn't have the fuel to back off, so he's going to have to deal with it. And this is what I mean. The pressure of that one lap run is really proven pivotal. After this lap, we are going to jump on board with Michael, who is the other potential threat here, but Sandro is looking like he ain't going to catch pole here because of the little mistake by putting it on the grass in the S's there, which he will be kicking us off back on because it's a pretty poor mistake, but he can make up for it in the race with his race pace. We are on board here, double left-hander. He takes it pretty decently, but not as well as he did on his first flying lap, which he backed off on. But we mustn't have seen something earlier on in that lap, and that's why he put it in the pits. But his last sector on the previous lap looked well. Michael's retired from the session, so it's all down to Sandro to challenge Jay on pole, with maybe Conflict actually putting a decent lap in. But Conflict's just behind Sandro here, but Sandro comes into the final chicane, comes out of it nice, takes out very nice actually, and this time looks like it could just be on a very tight to Jay's time, and he doesn't. He goes P2, and Jay's an untouchable man at the minute, but Conflict coming through the lap here, can he improve? And he does improve, I believe, just ever so slightly, but does remain P3. So the top 3 today for Suzuka qualifying is Jay in the McLaren Honda, Sandro Sorhaug in the Haas in P2, and Conflict in the Renault of P3. And the rest of the order goes Luke Red, Damien, Scouse, Scotty, Big Rob, and Michael qualifying last as he retired from the session. Well, crashed out of the session. But an interesting race we've got ahead of us here, because we've got people displaced, and we've got Michael, who's out really far out in P9, and he's going to want to look to make maybe a strategic gamble, maybe, or just make his way through the field as fast as possible to get up to the big runners, the lead runners. And Damien had a quite weird qualifying session and has also started a little bit further back than he may have wanted to, but it's an open race. But Jay wants to close this up nice and early, get a nice start, and then probably pull away from the field. But Sandro may have something else to say about this. But we've also got to realise that turn 1 here at Suzuka is a very, very tricky corner to negotiate in the first lap, if not on all laps. But it's going to be very tricky for all the drivers here today to negotiate this first corner and second corner, as they're both very close to each other with a little to no damage. And I do think we're going to see a spin of some sort and a bit of front wing flying off into turn 1. But here we go. 4 lights, 5 lights, and it's lights out and away we go. And Sandro seems to have a fantastic start here. And as we run to the line, Sandro seems to be almost side by side, but just doesn't get the better run in the second phase of the start. Jay closes it off, but goes up the inside, goes conflict, and he's looking at Sandro, but Sandro gains the position again. The front 3 remain the same. Michael's already up on the P7, going through the field, and he's going to be out with that. And that's a Force India and a Toro Rosso of Luke, Red, and Scouse. And I didn't really see what happened there. Maybe he lost the back end and then hit Scouse, but I'm not sure. I'm not too sure. But we're on board with Michael now, who's in P5 and looking to make a move on the Toro Rosso of Damien, whose teammate has just been spun out, as you've seen. Maybe by Scouse, maybe not. I'm not 100% sure. But he is on the medium tyre, Michael, which is what I was saying about the strategic gamble that he's probably going to have to take and throw a wild card into it. But he is in a promising position here with Damien just ahead. And I don't know if he'll be lagging for Michael, but he has got the red bars for me, so maybe he's lagging slightly. But we are on board with conflict now on the Renault. Who, along with the rest of the top 3, have had a fairly solid start. He's remained P3. He's Sandro and Jay just pulling away a bit, but I think he'll be happy with the start so far, and I think he definitely would have took a podium coming into this race. So hopefully he can hold that and gain the podium. But we are going to jump on board with our pole sitter and lead man of the race as he comes across the line onto the second lap of the race. It's Jay in the McLaren Honda. He's had a perfect start, exactly what he would have wanted, pulling out the gap to Sandro by about a second. And I think we had yellow flags there, and Damien is going side by side with Tyrone, the Ferrari, into turn 1, and the Ferrari just carpools straight past him and takes the position. Who's also surprisingly on the medium tyres, and he runs wide. He's on the grass. Damien's just trying to get back on the track. He's fair play to him. He's trying to make a safe entry, but he's got 2 cars fighting right behind. We've got Big Rob and Luke coming to try and catch him up with his fellow teammate. He lets his teammate through, and that's great from the Toro Rosso team. But we are on board with Luke, who goes flying up the inside of Big Robert in the sister team, and have a bit of that. And you cornflakes, he says to the Red Bull as he passes him. And he's gone off the track, actually, Big Rob, and Damien retakes it. So it's a P6 and P7 for Toro Rosso, and it's not what they were hoping after a pretty decent qualifying session from Luke and Damien with there's plenty of time left in this race, and they can definitely make up some places. But we are on board with Tyrone here, who's in the Ferrari. He's gone the medium tyres, following Michael, who's just ahead of him in the Mercedes on the medium tyres, who seems to be struggling on these medium tyres, maybe not getting up to temperature or just really can't find the grip on them. But he's got a great run going into 130R. He's gaining slipstream, and he might be able to have a go into the final chicane here. He's gaining on it. He goes to the outside. Michael defends the inside into the chicane, and Michael just about outbreaks him, but he's going to have the cutback on the McLaren. On the Mercedes, Michael runs wide onto the thingy, and we're going to jump on board with Michael here just to watch the Ferrari soar past him on the straights, as he had such a terrible exit compared to the Ferrari. Now he slots it behind the Ferrari to gain a slipstream and maybe go into turn 1 and 2, but he doesn't go in the side into the turn 1 and 2, which is smart from Michael, as it is a risky move, and it wouldn't be valuable to end his race right now with the championship much in his favour, but he doesn't want to lose it. But I think his nearest rival is Neil, who is not here today, so maybe Michael's just wants to finish this race, get a few points on the board, but not be too aggressive. I think he might actually finish the title today, as Neil has not attended today's race. But we're on board with conflict again in the Renault, and he's about 1.5 seconds behind the Haas of Sandro. And Sandro's about 3.5 seconds off the leader of GA in the McLaren Honda. He's just absolutely streaming away, and it is a perfect race so far for the McLaren Honda, and he is pulling away, and it's exactly what he needs, just some clean air, no threat at the minute, and he can do what he wants. He can nurse the tyres, or he can push and gain a bit of a gap and go longer on this stint. But on lap 3 going into lap 4, it looks like the main contender for today's race is going to be Jay, who's leading the race with a nice almost 4-second gap now. So he is pulling away from Sandro, and Sandro is either just really struggling today, or is maybe just trying to just nurse the tyres a bit more than thingy, or might be saving a bit of fuel, I don't know. But Jay's now took the gap to 4 seconds. We're on board with Sandro here in the Haas, and he's coming through the S's, and we've got Conflict, who's just gained himself a nice 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings, and he did run wide there, which does invite the two medium runners of Tyrone and Michael here in the Ferrari and the Mercedes to catch up to him a lot, and the grass that Conflict got on his tyres there is allowing them to catch up a bit. He's got on the grass a little bit more, so you're going to jump on board with the Ferrari here with 5+ laps of fuel, so he's got a lot of fuel to burn here, and Conflict could be in big trouble here as he's on the fastest tyre on the track, and he could be getting swamped here by at least one medium runner, which is really going to hurt his race pace. But he's hurty with his grass on his tyres, and he's really struggling in the braking zones and that. And the Ferrari of Tyrone's trying to gain a bit of a slipstream. Didn't get the best of runs out of the hairpin there, but he is side by side. He's going to go round the outside in the double left-hander. This is going to be a fantastic move if he can get it done. And he just gets a little nudge wide. He runs off the track. Nothing too malicious there, but he doesn't get the move done, but he does get a better exit going down the back straight to 130, and he's got the move done. And Michael's going to slot in on the slipstream of the Renault, and is he going to get swamped in the same straight by two medium runners, and that's going to be absolutely detrimental to his race. And Michael just can't keep it around the outside of 130. Is he going to have a try up the inside? No, he isn't, but Conflict on them fresh, super soft tyres, tries to go the inside, and this is your final chicane, and oh my god, it was absolutely carnage there, and Conflict just outbraked himself, forced the Ferrari of Tyrone wide. And then the Ferrari had to turn back onto the track, and he's forced him off, but he has lost the position. The Ferrari is behind Michael now, though, and that is what's it called? That is a terrible bit of driving. Well, not really terrible, just a bit of argy-bargy stuff right there from the Renault and the Scuderia. But the Ferrari of Tyrone has gained himself a 5-second time penalty for that. And I personally, as a steward, would happily revoke that. But he is going to have to serve it, but we will take 5 seconds off his race time, I personally would say. Because it really wasn't his fault. You know, Conflict outbraked himself. I'd probably give it as a racing incident. I wouldn't penalise Conflict for that. But, yeah, that 5-second time penalty, in my eyes, should be revoked. But Michael now in P3 on the medium tyres with the Ferrari, who's also on medium tyres, right behind him. He's going to pressure him all the way because he has got double the amount of fuel to burn at the minute. And it really is going to be a tasty battle between the Ferrari and the Mercedes, just like earlier on today in Hungary. But Michael runs wide, and the Ferrari's going to get a fantastic tour here. Gets into the slipstream as well. And he's going to go round the outside in a 130. Yeah, Michael defends on the inside. And he's going to go round the outside. And they're going to go side by side in the final chicane. What's going to happen? Michael just doesn't outbrake. He tries the cutback. Michael may get a great run on the front straight here. But we're on board with Michael. He has got the DRS actually. So that is smart from Michael if he meant to do that. And he's now got the DRS. And he is going to have the outright pacing. He's probably going to get the move done before they even get into the first corner. And he gets the move done. And that is great from Michael. That is very smart positioning of the car. It does clip tyre on there slightly. Tyre has a little bit of a wobble, but he is okay at the minute. I don't think that'll cost him front wing either. And if so, not a lot, but there's not much you can do for that. But Scotty gains himself a 3-second time penalty down in P10 there. About 2 seconds behind Big Robert. But with all this fighting, Conflicts come back at them a bit. And actually, in second thought, the telemetries were terrible there, and it said you're about 2 tenths behind, and you're about 8 tenths, so that's not good at all. But the Ferrari of Tyrone on the medium tyres is going to be having a fantastic battle for the most of this stint with Michael on the medium tyres, by the looks of it. And this is really where all the action's going to be. I mean, up front, the two gaps to Sandro's almost identically as far ahead as he is behind Jay there. He's ahead of Michael by 7 seconds, and he's behind Jay by about 7 seconds. So the front two are really looking at like they're gonna have a simple race here. So just gotta keep it simple, no real mistakes. Try to avoid to do a Sebastian Vettel in Germany and just be at the front, control the race, no mistakes. Jay's had a solid last half of the season so far, and he's really shown himself well so far. But 7 seconds ahead, he's controlling his race very easily. He's coming up to the back marker of Scott, Big Robert there, I believe. We've got Conflict, who's the first of the super soft runners to dive into the pits, and we're gonna go on board with him here. Scouse gains another time. Well, Scouse in the Force Indy gets a time penalty. He's gonna go on to the medium tyres, so I believe he's gonna be what? Okay, maybe he's on the soft tyres. This game lied to me, but he's on the medium tyres now. Oh my god! So he's actually on the medium tyres. It's a big fat lie. Don't ever trust the But the biggest gainers so far, well, there's only really two gainers in the whole track, is Michael and Tyrone. Everyone else has lost places apart from the two front runners who've solidified their positions. But at the minute, the gap has come down by about 5 tenths from Sandro to Jay. So maybe Sandro's on a bit of a maybe Jay's struggling a bit with tyre wear, or maybe just nursing the tyres a bit. But no matter what, he's allowing Sandro to get back at him a bit. And although there's a big gap, that could come down drastically, but I think Jay's turning it back up now, and Sandro's going to struggle to keep with him, I believe. But I believe Sandro's pushing as well, so maybe the gaps could settle out here and not really variate. But Michael and Tyrone are both making great inroads on these medium tyres, and they're probably going to be looking to go about lap 20, 21, 22 on these and get onto the supers, as long as there is no penalties or damage to the car and force an early pit stop. But for everyone else, I believe it's going to be the same, just onto the mediums. We are on board with Tyrone in the Ferrari on the medium tyres, and and the gap hasn't really changed. And Luke gets himself a 5-second stop go penalty for speed in the pit lane. He'll be kicking himself over that one. He's in P5, and that could put him. That could end his chances of catching Conflict at all. But Scotty gets himself another time penalty. He just doesn't give a fuck, this boy. And well, yeah, the only real battle on the track here at the minute is Tyrone and Michael, who are both on on the exact same tyres. The gap from the McLaren Honda of Jay, who's leading the race, to Sandro is went up by 2.5 seconds. So I don't know what's going on with that. I think Sandro must have made a mistake there, because I do not believe Jay has that much of a pace advantage compared to Sandro over 1 lap. But the Ferrari of Tyrone here has dropped back just a touch, almost out of the DRS range, I believe. And is Michael just cranking the engine up a bit now? We're gonna have a look on board with Michael to see if he is cranking the engine up. He is not, so Michael's maybe just finding it a bit easier here. But as we do see, the Ferrari of Tyrone is on a lean mix, and I'm not really sure what he's doing that, because he has got almost 3.5 laps of extra fuel, and there is really no need to do so. But whatever, he knows best for his own driving. Maybe he wants to burn a lot later, I don't know. But Michael goes quite wide into the first and second corner, well, into the second corner there, and that's 2 laps in a row now. Tyrone's run wide at that exact corner on the exit of turn 2, practically the exact same way he's run wide 2 laps in a row now. But he has gained a bit on Michael now with that mistake. So could he maybe have a go onto the back straight, into where maybe either 130R or into the final chicane? But Michael's maybe struggling at the minute in this little stint of the race. He seems to be running a bit wide so far on this lap, and Tyrone really seems to be finding the better grip at the minute on the medium tyres. So he has switched, as Michael did pull away a bit earlier. But I am very sure that Tyrone, as long as he has a good double left-hander here, will probably have a chance to go at Michael here. But he doesn't have a good double left-hander, and I doubt he's going to be able to have a go at Michael unless he's running a very low downforce setup and gets a nice toe off Michael. But it doesn't seem like he's going to have enough to even have a go into the final chicane, but he could definitely have a go into turns 1 and 2 maybe with DRS assistance, of course. But he is trailing Michael, and he's had a fairly decent exit there. He's going to need to get into the toe of Michael, and he does seem quite far back, but the toe, and with the toe and the combination of DRS is really powerful. He has broke out of the slipstream rather early there, or he might not have just wanted to. He might not have wanted to have a go into turns 1 and 2 there, which is again smart racing from the Ferrari driver. Doesn't want to risk anything, as he has got a good chance at a podium here, or at least P4, which is a remarkable result considering I believe it is his first race as well. So a great debut race for Tyrone in the Ferrari. And again, him and Michael, I did say that Michael needed to throw caution to the wind here and have a fantastic strategic decision, and it seems to be paying off. But what he probably wouldn't have been planning there was to run wide onto the gravel, and that's going to allow the Ferrari of Tyrone to go round his outside into their hairpin. And he did roughly break at the same time, the neck and neck, but the Ferrari of Tyrone gets a better exit here, and Michael is trying to hold it around the outside, going towards the double left-handers. Michael slots into the slipstream of Tyrone. I doubt he's going to have enough. No, he doesn't have enough. Since Scouse is out the Grand Prix, he's retired in Sector 3, so that's yellow flag, so that is going to restrict Michael to get back at Tyrone. He might just have to slot in and then hope for the best onto the actual front straight in front of the grandstands here at Suzuka. But they're going for a 130R now, and he's gaining, and the yellow flags in Sector 3 are still being waved, but it is green flags now, so he could have had a go into the final chicane there, but he doesn't. He opts for a better exit going onto the front straight, and he's having a great exit here on Tyrone. He's already gaining on him, and he hasn't even have DRS at this point, but they are side by side, and the DRS is showing great use there, and streams past the Ferrari. Tyrone, who still tries to hold it around the outside, but he just couldn't really hold it on the outside. It's a very hard corner to hold it on the outside there, especially when you're on the exact same tyres as each other. But the Ferrari of Tyrone's probably getting quite frustrated here, as he has overtaken Michael twice now, and both times Michael's fought back. And who pitted there? Oh my god, I just missed Jay, who's pitted onto the medium tyres. Sandro takes the lead of the race and has got about 4.2 seconds, about 4-second advantage to Michael behind, and Jay loses the back end, and he's absolutely smashed his car to pieces. He's got no front wing, and he's absolutely, and this race has opened up for Sandro right here. Sandro is looking the most confident here, and now Michael and Tyrone have most likely got podiums as well, but Jay, I believe, he's damaged his front wing, and Jay's going to have to pit again, and that is absolutely horrible, and I don't think he'll have another set of mediums to pit onto either. So this is going to force Jay to either take the softs a very long distance or go for an extra 2 stops now, and that's really hurt his race. So Jay's now going to have to do a recovery drive, and if he gets a podium, then it's going to be absolutely fantastic. And he's done a Sebastian Vettel. I told him not to, and he's went and done it. Commentator's curse. And it's an absolute horrific accident from Jay, and it's a terrible mistake, and he's really going to be kicking himself over that one. Sandro gets a 5-second stop-go penalty for speeding in the pit lane, but what that also does do now is that brings Tyrone and Michael into the net lead as well, because of that 5-second penalty. So technically Michael and Tyrone are they're actually in the lead of the race with a minute, and Sandro's going to have to gain a bit of time. Sandro goes onto the soft tyres. That's an interesting strategy, because that now brings... Well, that is interesting from Sandro, because that brings Michael and Tyrone into play a lot more now than what it should have been. So that could have been a poor strategic choice from Sandro there, unless he's going to the end on them tyres, which then is a fairly decent choice. But again, why wouldn't you play it safe and go for the mediums if he's going to the end? But we won't find out too soon. Maybe in the next 10-12 laps or so we'll find out what Sandro is doing strategic wise. But Tyrone and Michael's races have really started to have really opened up now, and Tyrone's just about half a tenth, so that gap seems to be consistently at about half a tenth, and sometimes through a Michael mistake he can have a go at him. But Michael's just got to keep a smart head. Concentration is key right now, not make a mistake, and keep Tyrone, the Ferrari of Tyrone behind him, and just no mistakes, and he should be good for the moment. And they both do seem to be managing the tyres quite well. The tyres don't seem to be too bad yet. About halfway into the stint, and Tyrone comes into the pits, and that's a very early pit stop for the medium tyres. And he takes him almost half the race. He's going to go on to soft tyres, so he's doing a 1 stop, but he has got a 5-second stop-go penalty, which is going to be revoked, I can promise. But then that does cancel out with Sandro, who's now coming around the pit straight. Who is going to overtake Tyrone here onto the front straight. But Michael now has got a decision to make. Does he go for the overcut or does he go for the undercut? And if he goes for the overcut, he'll have some fresher tyres and maybe could even get another super soft, but he loses the back end. And Michael is so lucky to have not lost his tyre there. And oh my god, this race is unbelievable. Jay and Michael have crashed in the exact same position as each other. And now Sandro's going to be coming around the S's now and is probably going to catch up to Michael, who definitely has at least half a red wing. He goes on the gravel, and Michael, I mean, I don't know what it is, you know. The two leaders of the race so far have balled it both times. So is Sandro going to be sweating right now, as he is going to inherit the race lead here, I believe, unless Michael does some absolute kamikaze sorcery and doesn't pit. But Michael's knocked his own race up, so Tyrone is now looking at P2, maybe even P1 here, depending on Sandro, depending on how good his pace is compared to Sandro. But he does have a lot more fuel than Sandro. He has 3 times the amount of fuel. So this is a really interesting race, and the debut race for the Ferrari driver, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong there, is really opening up for him. He's at the minute he's a net P2, and he can make a few mistakes, just no big ones. He can run off the track a few times, and I think he should be able to safely bring it home in P2. But and has Michael actually come into the pits? Yes, he has. Right, Michael's actually coming to the pits, and Sandro sets the new fastest lap of the rest in the soft tyres with a 1:32.9. Tyrone's lap is a 1:56, but he did pit, so that doesn't really matter. This lap, we're going to stay on board with Tyrone for this lap, as it. Well, we're going to stay on board with Sandro first, just to see what his sector times are like. So we're going to go for the first sector and see what his time is like, and then going to compare it to Tyrone's first sector on this lap. Sandro comes out with does a 34 flat, and Tyrone's coming through the split now and does a 33.5, so that's 5 tenths up on Sandro here. So we're going to jump on board with Sandro, who goes into the hairpin in P1, and you know, he'll do well not to crash out here, as both the people who've led the race so far have crashed out. But I think he's got the cool, calm head of the Norwegian that I know he is, to keep it on the track and not take him out of the race. But here we go, he comes out on the back straight here, going down towards 130. Yeah, we're going to see what his sector 2 split was, and it's a 1:15.8. So we're going to jump on board with Tyrone now. He was coming through and he does a 1:15 flat, so Sandro's losing a lot of time here, but he isn't pushing. He is on the standard revs compared to Tyrone in the Ferrari, but he has got the fuel to burn to push on the rich revs. But what you've got to realise here is the fact that Sandro has just put fastest lap of the race in there and a 1:32.8, and Tyrone goes ahead and beats that with a 1:31.6. But the fact that Tyrone's only 6.6 seconds behind means that with his 5-second penalty that that I think should be revoked, technically he's only 1.5 seconds behind, and Sandro needs. He may not know that, I'm not sure, but he really needs. If he does know that, he needs to put his foot down, because he's only got a second now over him, and he hasn't really got a lot of fuel to burn. So it's going to be a tough race here, and Tyrone is looking in a very commander position at the moment. And to be fair, if I could choose any position right now, I would pick to be Tyrone, as he does have the pace, he does have the fuel, and he's technically only 8 tenths behind, so he really doesn't even have to overtake Sandro to gain the race here. But he's obviously going to try, because obviously he can't be 100% sure that he is going to get the penalty removed. But I'm 90% sure he did get that penalty off when he got ran wide, and then he got it for corner cutting, but he didn't really, track extending, he got shoved off the track by conflict in a racing incident, I would say. Who's now in P3 on the medium tyres. He pitted relatively early, so he has been not necessarily forgotten about, but he has had quite a quiet race so far. Conflict, he pitted early, he got the cleaner, he's on the medium tyres, he's gone to the end of the race, and if any of the front if either of the front two do need to pit, he will take their position, and that's something that the front two need to consider, because they are both on a soft tyre, and if they can't take that soft tyre at the end, well, conflict's going to be there, and he could potentially take the win here. So don't write conflict off just yet. And Michael sets the fastest lap of the race with a 1:31.6, but is irrelevant practically, as he is down in P5, and he's actually catching up to Luke, who were both on the soft tyre. So we're actually going to jump on board with this battle, as it is the closest on the track. But Michael's race is going so peachy so far. Well, for the first half of the race basically, and then inherited the lead, and after 2 laps did exactly what Jay did after just after his first pit stop. But he is catching up to Luke here. Roberto gets a fantastic exit here. The Toro Rosso against the Mercedes, both on the soft tyres, going to go up the inside into the hairpin. The Toro Rosso tries to defend around the outside, and Michael just about gets that move done. Luke maybe sensibly tried not to fight him there, just so he doesn't lose time or gain any damage that he doesn't need, as he's going for a solid P5 here, with Jay 13 seconds behind, and I believe he's ghosted. So, well, Jay's game has just crashed, as I've been told. He should be able to join back and take over his car, but it is going to be a tough ask. He's going to have to join and work his socks off to catch Luke here in the penultimate 10 laps of the race. And I'm eating a Cadbury cereal bar right now, and it's very tasty, I must say. But we are still on board with Luke here in the Toro Rosso. Another quiet race. Another one who's had a quiet race. And P5 is looking very good right now, unless Jay has a fantastic last 10 laps of the race in that McLaren Honda of his to close what will probably be about a 20-second gap when he gets back into the lobby. That's if he's going to join back. Sorry, Jay. Well, I can't help it. And I maybe actually be able to stay for the whole of this race, as my league race starts at 9 and we've got about 17 minutes in 10 laps. But Damien's just passed the ghosting car of Jay, the McLaren. He's in the medium tyres, and Damien's just, last Sunday he had great pace around Malaysia, but today it's just not his race. He's down in P6. He's 22 seconds behind Luke, who's also on soft tyres, and he does run wide on 130. We are going to go back to the top here. Conflict at P3 on the medium tyres is got Michael behind him, 5 seconds behind actually. So Conflict actually may have a problem, may struggle here to get this podium. He's going to have to fight vigorously for it. But there again, Michael's tyres should be dropping off near the last few laps of the race, so maybe it could come back to Conflict. And although Michael may pass him and get ahead, he's just got to keep focused and stay as close as he can, because sorry, I didn't mean to do that, but yeah, if Michael can keep it in, if Conflict can keep behind Michael, if he overtakes him, his tyres should be dropping off near the end. But we are going to go on board with Tyrone now, who's closed the gap down to Sandra by 1.2 seconds now. And time penalty being removed or not, he's a man on a mission today in the Ferrari. And Sandro really is either struggling for pace right now or is just saving fuel. And he has been saving. Oh wait, no, that was Conflict. And he hasn't really been saving too much fuel. Tyrone, again, double the amount of fuel compared to Sandro. And he's just probably looking to get another 1 second margin, just so he can ease up a bit and then just whack the engine up when he needs to overtake him. But Tyrone has raced a beautiful race today, I must say, so far. And don't take any credit away from Sandro, he's had a fantastic race, but just the pace of this Ferrari seems to have... it's just too much for the Red Sandro, and he's really going to have his work cut out today if he wants this race win. But without a major crash, they are looking at a 1-2. Even with a spin, they could probably retain a 1-2. But hold on, I've got... sorry, Jamie. Yeah, sorry. I can only apologise. But you can't solely blame me. Just saying, I'm a commentator at the end of the day. I can't solely take responsibility for your crash. But anyway, we've got yellow flags in sector. Damien retires from the session. I think he's just given up. He's had a dismal race. He really was probably having a torrid time in that Toro Rosso there. And the two Toro Rossos had a promising race ahead of them after qualifying, and it just didn't seem to go their way. But we've got two major battles that are probably going to come apparent. But the first battle that's going to come apparent here is the battle for the lead of the race, and Sandro runs wide on the gravel track, and Tyrone is just hunting his prey of Sandro here. And he's not going to be able to go into the hairpin on this lap. Or maybe he might. No, he doesn't. He just outbrought himself a bit there, I believe. Just avoided contact with Sandro there. Very good from the Ferrari driver. But Conflict's now only 2.5 seconds ahead of Michael, who's absolutely chomping that gap down on them soft tyres compared to Conflict's medium tyres. So that's going to be an interesting race. Decided to unmute you in the middle of the race. But we are on board with the Ferrari here, who is gaining. He's got a nice tour on Sandro. He could maybe have a go into the final chicane here. He's thinking about where he's having a look, but he just isn't close enough. But he does seem to have... It's either his Sandro's having tyre temperature problems and just isn't getting the full package out of the tyre here. But whatever it is the Tyrone's doing in the Ferrari is really getting the package out of these soft tyres, and he's got the DRS active. He's going to go up the inside into turn 1, and Sandro's had to concede the position, but he does run wide, and that does give Sandro a chance to maybe get back at him going into the S's. And no, he doesn't smartly doesn't. But now Sandro's got to make some ground here and really get them soft tyres to work, because so far on this soft tyre stint, Tyrone's at the pace over him throughout. But as I said, Tyrone, fantastic race from him today so far, and he's just, I don't know what it is, but these soft tyres... Oh, Sandro outbreaks himself majorly there, and that's going to cost him almost a second now, and that is going to hurt his chances of catching Tyrone back up. But he's really going to have to push and really use that fuel wisely to catch up to Tyrone here. But Tyrone, he's got some absolute tremendous pace since he got on them soft tyres. And I think he might have better pace than Michael, who they were both identical on them medium tyres. Practically neck and neck with each other, but he just seems to be outclassing Michael, who is only a second behind Conflict now. And I'm going to jump on board with him now, and he's got almost 2.5 laps of spare fuel to burn here. And Conflict, with only about 1.5 laps of extra fuel, is on the medium tyres, is looking very vulnerable right now, and Michael is looking to get this move done and get out the way as fast as possible before his tyres drop off a bit towards the end of the race, and that's maybe when Conflict could potentially come back at him. But what's going to be a real problem here is how long Conflict can keep Michael behind him. So if Conflict can keep behind him for maybe 2-3 laps, that's going to hurt his tyres a lot, and then that's going to make those softs drop off a lot quicker for Conflict and give him a lot more of a window to get back at Michael and hurt him and take the final podium place. But Michael's had a fairly decent race today, a good recovery race from his crash when he took the lead. I must say it's been a very good recovery race, and Luke Red's in P5. He's on a fairly quiet but very solid race from Luke, as he usually has a quiet but solid race. Usually finishes around the P5 area, P5, P6, and Michael's having a look at Conflict there, maybe in the S's, but doesn't really get it. And I think Conflict's having a real torrid time on those medium tyres. He's all over the place really, and it seems to be that the soft tyres are very good today for everyone who's on them, apart from Sandro, who's really hasn't really brought those tyres to light, to be fair, compared to Michael and Tyrone. But Tyrone's absolutely lit them tyres up. But as you said, it's Sandro. I've just about matched him. I gained about a tenth on him, and he's only 8 tenths behind Tyrone. But we're going to stay on board with Michael here, who's gets a great exit on them grippy softs. He's going to try and go around the outside of Conflict, dips his tyre in the grass a bit. He's going to slip back into the slot back into the slipstream of Conflict, and he's going to sit behind his double left hand and hopefully get a fantastic exit onto the back straight here. Get a nice toe off the Renault. Maybe go around the outside into 130R, or maybe go up the inside. It depends where he defends, but there's definitely a movement at the far chicane, potentially, with the grip he has on them super softs, and the softs even. And Conflict really does seem unconfident of the grip his mediums are providing. And Conflict does go defensive on the inside. And Michael didn't make the move, but that's allowed Michael to get a fantastic exit off the final corner. They're on the front straight down in front of the grandstands. Michael activates DRS. He's already alongside the Renault. This looks like this could be moved on, but we are going to jump on board with Conflict, who may try and go up the inside into turns 1 and 2. He's tried, but Michael spins, and Michael cannot hold. Michael could not hold the back end there, and he tried his best and he spun, and that could be the last chance he had of getting that podium place. He's going to lose about 6 seconds here because of the grass on his tyres as well, I think. No, about 5 seconds, okay, my bad. But Michael's really knocked up on that move there, and Conflict lives to fight another day. But it's only 4 seconds, and with the pace Michael had, he could probably close that back down again. It's going to be very tight towards the line, but big mistake from Michael, and it's big mistakes that have cost everyone today. The real, Tyrone's had a very solid race, hasn't made a mistake, and it's put him there. But Sandro hasn't really made a mistake this race. He's just, these soft tyres really haven't come to life for him compared to what Tyrone's been able to work them. But yes, this is going to be a fantastic end to the race, and I should have enough time to finish this race, I believe. But it's going to be very tight with 3 laps to go, and I've got about 7 minutes to work with here. But it's going to be a fantastic finale to the race. If Sandro can by some miracle get these softs to work in his favour, or maybe Tyrone's pushed them too hard and they might actually drop off towards the end of the race a lot more than Sandro's, and maybe Sandro was just nursing them, and there again it's been a very smart drive. But Michael's already closed that gap down by 6 tenths to Conflict in the space of 1 lap, and he has got a lot of fuel. He has got about a second's worth of fuel to burn here as Michael laps the ghosted car of the McLaren Honda that is Jay, who consolations go to him. He's had a tough race, but through his own error, which could maybe slightly be blamed on me, has cost him majorly. But Michael's absolutely on fire at the minute, and I think at the minute he's the fastest man on track, I would say. But there again, does Tyrone really need to light up his tyres? Does he really need to light up as much as Michael's lighting up now? But Michael's very much so looking like he can, if these tyres can hold to the end of the race at least, he definitely could have a go at Conflict here, going into maybe on the final. Definitely, if his tyres do not drop off, he could definitely have a go at him at some point in the remaining 2 laps of this race. But Sandro's dropped off by another second now, and yeah, Tyrone's got the engine turned up. There's plenty of life left in them softs for him, mate. And well, it's been a fantastic race, and as long as he doesn't make a mistake now, let's hope he doesn't, because it's been a great debut race for him. I believe it is his debut. If not, this is the first time I've seen him, and he's had a fantastic race. But another second almost already, so Sandro is either really struggling these soft tyres, or he's just happy with P2 here. He has got about 30 seconds to Conflict, and if he thinks he could risk a puncture, then he could maybe pit. But we have got yellow flags in Sector 1, that's Scotty, and he's had an absolute horrific race, bless him, in the Haas, and he's really not going to be happy with himself. But he's coming back onto the track. He's going to have to nurse the tyres a bit, because they've got grass and marbles on them all over. But yep, Michael's about 1.5 seconds behind the Renault Conflict here on the medium tyres. But this is the point in the race where I personally thought these softs would fall off. So we're about to find out how badly they are falling off, but it doesn't seem to be that they are falling off too much, as Tyrone has managed to take 2 seconds out of Sandro in 2 laps. And Michael's closing in on a Conflict still, so these tyres haven't gone off really. But Conflict really needs to find some pace in these medium tyres if he wants to keep P2. Right now we've got 2. We're on the penultimate lap of the race. Well, entering the penultimate lap of the race now for the Renault Conflict. And Michael has got DRS now, and he hasn't got his wing open, surprisingly, which is an interesting one. But yeah, I'm literally gonna have to watch the race out, and I'm gonna have to do one of you guys. But it's been a fascinating Japanese Grand Prix with all sorts, with a bit of everything really. You know, a few mistakes have cost people some valuable points, and it has allowed for some fantastic drives to come through, and a great recovery drive from Michael, I must say. And Tyrone's had a fantastic race so far, and he's now 5 seconds ahead of Sandro, and this is unbelievable. You know, he may have a 5-second time penalty revoked, but it doesn't really matter. I don't think he'd be too bothered if he gets the win. But it's we're entering the penultimate lap of the race now as Tyrone. On the penultimate lap of the race, we're going to jump on board with the race leader here, Tyrone in the Ferrari. It's been a beautiful drive. He's just got to keep it on the track and not do anything dodgy. But we are going to jump on board with Michael here, I'm sorry to say. But they're going through 130R as we speak, and he's looking to make a move on Conflict going into the final chicane, but he doesn't. But he is going to try and get the cutback or something. Conflict gets himself a nice 5-second stop-go penalty, and that's practically his hopes of getting a podium over now, unless Michael repeats his spin going into the second corner here, as he did a few laps ago, but I doubt he will. And Conflict just doesn't really hold the inside. I think Conflict yourself for P4E has been a great race. But we are going to jump on board with Tyrone, who's coming towards the last sector now. And we are on board with the Ferrari here, bringing it home for his first win. And he's just got to get past 130 on the final chicane. And it looks like he's going to do that. And it's been a beautiful drive from the Ferrari of Scotty. And he's absolutely lit this league upon light here in Suzuka today. Here he comes around the final corner. We've got our winner of today's Japanese Grand Prix in Suzuka, the Ferrari of Tyrone, with an absolute fantastic race. And he takes P1, and now we jump back to Sandro in the Haas, taking P2, and maybe a little bit disappointed in himself, but it is still a great race from Sandro today. And that's P, and that's P2 for Sandro. Now we're going to go on board with Michael, who is cleared Conflict now, has really had a torrid time with the medium tyres. And that's P3 for Michael. And I'm sorry guys, but I'm going to have to shoot off now, because I really need to get in the league race. But I will personally give my driver of the day to Tyrone, but that's not up to me. But I think Tyrone should get a driver of the day. But fantastic race from Michael, fantastic race from Tyrone as well, and a great recovery drive from Michael, sorry. But that's me for today, and I'll see you all next week.